Hey guys, welcome to another sponsored hobbies automotive video. This is a video pertaining this 2008 Honda Odyssey. So what I'm going to be covering is a valve cover gasket. I pulled out this coil, and this little coil boot seemed to be stuck on the spark plug, and when I pulled this out, it was contaminated with oil. So possibly the valve cover, well, not the valve cover seal, but this one, the spark plug seal, was damaged or not seated correctly, or for whatever reason it wasn't sealing. The oil was seeping into the spark plug, and then of course hot spark plug, hot coil is not a good thing. It can cause some issues, misfires. It can damage the coil, the boot, like it did. So now I have to replace either the whole coil, maybe I can get the boot. I think I'd just rather get the whole thing. So that's that pretty much is requiring a valve cover gasket replacement. So I already went ahead and sort of prepped for this video. Things you will need is a ratchet, a 10 socket, a 7 socket, a 12 socket, a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips, a needle nose or some pliers, an extension, and also I don't know the specific Allen wrench, but you are gonna need one of these, or even a socket for the coils. And then I would just have a magnet. And then there's also, you can use a socket, 5/8, or the spark plug sockets. So what I went ahead and did was, the first thing is you remove the negative cable and then the positive. Some people can just, if you want to, just remove the negative and leave the battery there with a positive connected, so you don't have to reset the radio. But I just went ahead and just to make things easier on myself, I just took the battery out, disconnect the negative, then the positive. Once I disconnected the battery, I went ahead and tackled the airbox. So I disconnected the mass airflow. Yeah, I disconnected the mass airflow. Just push this pin down, or this clip down, and pull. And then from there on, I loosened the 10mm bolts to the intake. And then these were 7. You can leave this on if you want to, but like I said, I'm just making it easier on myself. So I took this off. And the reason I did this is because this thing always breaks. So that's why I removed this box. So you just pretty much take off the clips and then just pull this out. And so pretty much I already loosened everything here. There's also a connector here in the throttle body on the top. It was like this. I disconnected it out, and then it was under these little rubber clip. Pulled it out of here, moved it out of the way, and now just push this back, and then I can pick up the airbox cover. Since you're here, might as well inspect the filter. So this is definitely a no-go. If you have a K&N filter, one of those like cleanable, reusable filters, yeah, you can go ahead and clean it. If it looks like this, I would just toss it and get another one. So this, I'm gonna replace it. It's pretty dirty. And so if that's dirty, I have to check the throttle body and check in here. There's a lot of dust, so I'm gonna have to take this off and clean it. So once I did that and I removed this this coolant line or this breather line, I just take off the inlet. Try to organize everything as much as possible. I just place my stuff there, and I'm just gonna place them here and then place them aside where I don't damage them or break them. So now that I did this, the next thing is I'm going to go ahead and tackle the throttle body. This sensor was already disconnected. There's 4 bolts here. Actually, there's 2 bolts on the top, and there's 2 nuts on the top, and there's 2 bolts on the bottom. These are 12s. Before I do that, there are 2 hoses here with these little hose clips. So I went ahead and removed these 2, and then I got a flathead and carefully stuck the flathead in there, and then sort of just shimmied it out, try not to damage it. And then I looked at the back, and there's also another hose here. I did the same thing, took off the clip, and that one I'll worry about it later, but take the clip off now since I'm already here. So all I have to do now is take off this 2 nuts on the top and the 2 bolts. Be careful you don't drop anything. And then with this connector, you just do the same thing. Take it, remove it. That should be it. Now, since you're here, might as well inspect the items. This is pretty filthy. This is very dirty. That's a no-go. I would clean it with a throttle body cleaner, wipe it down, and then reset the ECU afterwards. So now that I cleared this space, I'm gonna tackle this big piece. It's not the valve cover. It's just it's a big piece over here in the top. So pretty much what I'm gonna do is take off this clip, loosen it, and then do the same thing, get a flathead, and then push it out a little bit. Just make sure it's disconnected. Then there's another sensor here. Take the sensor off. There's 2 10mm bolts here. Just remove them. When that's out of the way, this is easier to take off. Carefully wiggle it. Use a flathead if you need to. With some of these bolts, it is best to place them back just so I won't lose them or forget where they go. Just also be very cautious that you don't drop these. Okay, so now that I did that, I disconnect all the sensors I see. There's one next to the throttle body. There's a little vacuum line, disconnect that as well. Come over here to the rear side of this thing. Passenger side, take off the little clip, pull the vacuum out. Here there's another one to the brake booster. Take off the clip, push this out with a flathead if you can. Carefully take this out, remove it. Now you're gonna have some 10mm bolts and nuts. There's gonna be 2 nuts, one on this side and one on this side, and then there's gonna be bolts all around here and in the middle. Try not to lose them, take them out carefully. Then this, you can actually just pull it off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and organize this as best as possible. I seem to have 10 bolts and 2 nuts. Let's place it there. Now that I'm done with that, these are some 12 bolts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts and 2 nuts, one here and one here. Just go ahead and remove those. It is better to do it in a pattern. I don't know the specifications. The way I did it, it can be a different way than the OEM requirements. So pretty much you just loosen them all. You can do circular pattern from the center out to in, whatever. It's honestly better to look up the specs. Just loosen them. Once you loosen them all, just take them all evenly. Oh no, it's gone. Okay, so I dropped a bolt. Here's where that magnet comes in handy. So now that this is all removed, you should be able to just pull this item up. Like I said, just for safety purposes, so you don't lose these bolts and nuts, you can just place them back where they go. And these two nuts go there and there. I'm gonna place them over here so I don't lose them. What's up? Okay, so now since I took off the top piece, I'm gonna focus on one thing at a time. I'm gonna focus on this valve cover. There's these clips right here for the coils. You just push the clip back and pull it out. There's another one here. You just pop those out. Then for the coils themselves, you're gonna have a connection. Pull the connection out on all of them. Press it and pull. You're gonna have the Allen bolt. I don't know the size. Like I said, I do have the Allen key itself. So what you just break it loose, and once it's loose, you could just take it out.
I think I know what my tooth is loose.
Okay, so now that I just went ahead and disconnected the coils and took off the bolts, I can just wiggle these out, pull these out. You might have to pull them out straight and then turn them at an angle. Hey, I can hear you. Can you guys go inside? Or you want to hold the camera, Jesse?
No, we can go inside.
Okay, go inside. So these coils do have the coil, and it has this seal right here, and that it has the boot. So this is a perfect timing to go through all your coils and inspect them. So this is damaged. I'm just gonna get either a new one or a used one that I have, maybe a spare. And then I went in ahead and labeled them so I don't forget. So now this is these are disconnected and loose. There are two wires down here. There's one somewhere there, and there's one connected to the O2. Disconnect those. Should be able to lift this wiring to the side. And on the valve cover, you can go ahead and just pull out the dipstick. You are gonna have 5 bolts. And they're gonna be 10 mil. They're gonna look like this. Disconnect them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's gonna be 5 of them. And then you can remove the valve cover. So there is one bolt that is short. The long ones are gonna go in the higher positions. And then this short one, as you can see, this one's seated lower. That's where it's gonna go. So now you can go ahead and see your valve cover or your valves. So this is the seal, This is not supposed to stay on the spark plug tubes. It's supposed to be on your valve cover, because this means it wasn't seated to the valve cover. So you're gonna do the same thing on that side. For this side, what I did find easier was to loosen the bolt for the coils, then pull the coils up, and once the coils are up, then you can disconnect them from the connector. You do that to all the coils, remove all 3 of them, and then there are 5 bolts again. There's 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yes, the first one was here under it, so you might have to move this aside. What I did, you don't have to. I removed this ground. I removed these injectors right here just to make it easier on myself. Be careful, because these things are gonna be a pain in the butt if you damage them. And then there's this hose right here, which we already took off the clip for. Then you can just pull it out. There are two connectors behind this, which goes here. You can take them off. I took them off because I thought that would give me more space, but it really didn't. Now for this harness, this harness bracket, there is 2 bolts. There's 1 here and 1 here. They're 10 mils. Disconnect those. Now you can actually move this to a side. And this is the annoying part. Babe, you come hold this. So this side is going to be the annoying part, where you can actually with one hand move this out of the way, or you can try and have it stuck on one side, and then you can pull this up. And take it out. So what makes it a pain is this is pushing it down, and then you have these 3 spark tubes. So you're gonna have to pretty much just shimmy it up, remove it up, and then wiggle it out. And this is where the bolts are located. So this is the one that's under the harness. So for my situation, the spark plugs that were just done with oil was, it comes with the 2 valve cover seals, the little grommets for the valve cover, and then the spark plug seals. So hopefully I won't have the issue of leaking anymore, and I'll replace the valve covers. I'll replace the coils. And I did go ahead and got these Honda OEM spark plugs. I got them from the dealership. They were expensive. They're like, I think they were about 200 bucks. Normally I get it NGK, but the dealership said that I was probably having some issues with my vehicle because of these spark plugs. It's possible. They said it's possible, but like I said, if you can afford it, go for it. Like, if it was my choice, I would have just gotten some NGKs from the auto parts store. And I already replaced these, but this one I couldn't replace it because the coil was stuck on the spark plug. That's the new one that's gonna go in. Okay, and now to put everything back, it's just a backwards procedure. So for the valve cover, you could just take it off, the old one, get some brake cleaner or a rag, shop rag, and just wipe it down, make sure it's clean. And for this valve cover, you won't need any RTV. No, you won't need any. So for some parts, some vehicles have like a little, it goes flat and then it loops. On the corners, you will put a valve RTV silicone or silicone maker. So once you do that, you take this off, clean it, prep it, and then you can remove these things. And when you place them back, they will go like that same way. All right, like I said, now just put everything backwards. I hope this video helps you guys get organized, or just get ready to what's to come with this valve cover gasket replacement. And that way, if you guys lose any bolts, you guys know where they go now. Enjoy.